Hello there. Thanks for watching or listening to VIP Boxing's Bell to Bell podcast. I think we're on about episode 153, 154. You're either watching on YouTube, listening on iTunes or Spotify. Thanks very much for that. You know me, Steve. You know my co-host, John Evans there. He's not a man to be messed with tonight from what he's just been telling me, what he's been up. He's been mixing with the stars today, but he's not in a good mood. Anyway, tonight's guest, former boxer, forced to retire with a 7-1 record. He's now getting his teeth into becoming a trainer. Joe Eko. How are you, Joe?
Good, thanks. How are you, Steve?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. You know John Evans, don't you?
Just a bit.
Yeah, he's down that Rafferty gym all the time, isn't he, eh? That was Steve Maley and all you lot asking your questions during fight week and all sorts, and he being a nuisance.
He trains out there then.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, man, good to have you on, Joe. So we're going to talk about life after boxing in the first round, but just tell us briefly what you're up to at the moment.
Just busy with, like you said, down at the finest gym, helping coach the lads with Steve, who's let me join the gym. Really, like it's been a great help to myself, sort of thing. Just learning off Steve. To be honest with you, just learning how. Obviously, when you're fighting, you don't really think how a coach thinks and stuff like that. So just still learning the game, really. Been involved for quite a bit now, but still got loads to learn.
Yeah. So, but I tell you what, you say you're learning the ropes as a trainer, but you're benefiting from working with very good fighters. Some of the off Jack Rafferty, Liam Taylor.
Yeah, like I've known them for a long time. To be fair, even Liam. When Liam was a pro, when I was still amateur, he was at the same gym then. And then Tom and Jack, we boxed amateur together in the same gym. So I know the fighters already, which was a great help as well. Like, you know, like they say, you should know the fighters, and literally do know the fighters. So that's good.
Yeah. They're in his own gym as well, Steve. Joe. He's had that built, does privates as well. So it's boxing 24 hours a day.
Yeah, it's 24 hours a day.
Do you have a lot of PT clients?
I have quite a lot. Yeah, too busy if anything. I feel the aches and pains sometimes, but not complaining.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll kick on with a pod. John, we do three, as you know. I think John says you've seen us a few times. We do 3 minutes around, and then he rings his little bell and tells us to shut up. So I know we're going to have to do that tonight. So we're going to start with you, Joe, and a point you want to make is life after boxing. What is it you want to tell us?
Not really too much what to tell you. I want to know, well, I know you lads have spoken about it before on the pod, I think. And just things in place for fighters when they do retire, especially if it's forced to retire early, like someone like myself, who I didn't really have any direction, any thought processes. As you probably know, when you're fighting, that's all you think about is fighting, but things to be set up for fighters after boxing, because even myself, I struggled quite hard, to be honest with you, for a long time afterwards. Did think, not knowing what I want to do. Everyone's telling you to coach, but it's when you used to being a fighter, so I didn't want to coach at first, just didn't want nothing to do with it, and then obviously, as yourselves, you've been involved with the sport for a long time, and it sort of drags you back in. Yeah,
it's a real. We discussed that before. I was thinking when you said that point. I mean, you've had. Well, I don't know what can be. I mean, the board promoters, maybe. I mean, I don't know whether small promoters can add money to a fund. Maybe TV broadcasters. I mean, I know boxers have tried to get unions off the ground before, but it's never worked. There was the PBA all those years ago that Barry McGuigan started, and it never worked. But, you know, a lot of boxers don't, you know, there's one, you get ones who talk about this like yourself that come to light, whereas others are just thinking about what is there now for us and not, it's a real tricky situation. What can be done, where the money can come from, where the funds to help boxers who have to retire early, and, you know, even if they, not to give them maybe financial help, if they need to see counsellors, that sort of stuff.
And you know, and not so many people. I had to see a counsellor myself for a while, because, you know, it was taken from me early, so I didn't really know what to do. And you know, it does help speaking to people, and mental health is a massive thing, I think, and a lot of boxers struggle with it. Seeing the news today, which is very, very sad, about Willie Lemon passing away. Still boxing at the age of 45. Was it because he couldn't let go of the sport? Did he not have anything else? I don't know. I don't want to say things like that, but you know what I mean. Like, boxers not knowing what to do after boxing because it's not really a thought process that you get told about.
Yeah, it's hard as well, isn't it? You know, you could easily take a 1% off the top earners to put in a fund, but the fellas who are struggling after their career, they're the ones who are earning $3 a fight, and they don't want to put contribute from the purse into a fund down the line, do they?
And you know, and there's guys, a lot of these journeymen, as you know, John, I make matches now, and you know, after a fight, and you be with you go in the dressing room after. I always go and see how the journeyman is before the away fight. I'm a big job. I always champion the away fighter, and you go and see afterwards, and I could give you examples where guys have had a cut, and before they even went to the doctor, where do I get paid? Can you take me? You know, part of my job is to take them where they get paid for a lot of shows if the office is at the other end. And there's fighters will go with their gear on, not even got their boots on to get their money and count it first. You know, and them guys aren't thinking of maybe putting 30 quid from each purse into a fund that helps those guys get counselling and that sort of help. It's
and some help.
Yeah. All right, round two. Sonny Edwards. You know what? I mean, he's obviously look the way he goes off on social media and all that. He gets his stick, but he's had that, you know, quite a heavy loss to Bam Bam Rodriguez. Really well beaten that night, but fair play to him going and fighting Adrian Kuro, and a decent fight. The next fight back, returning to Arizona. I'm not sure if it's the same venue where he was beat, but you know, you see so many fighters get beat, British fighters in that style, and then they just go into their shell back here for another year before they go in. He's always said once he got beat, he'd just go right looking for it again. And he's doing it. And you know what? I can't give him nothing but praise for that. Even though he does it, I know he annoys a lot of people, but I tell you what, I'm Team Sonny Edwards all the way for that, for things like that. He's a proper fighter.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I'm a big Sonny fan, to be honest with you. He walks the walk, and I know he got beat in his last fight. He talks the talk, doesn't he? He does what he says, you know what I mean? And I'm a massive fan. I think fair play to him for jumping straight back into the deep end, but hopefully he can do it. I know that the lad, what's he called? Who's he fighting against?
Adrian Kuro.
He got beat off machine with it.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a good fight again, do you know what I mean? It's hopefully he can do it, and then hopefully box will go straight after.
John, I know you follow the little men. Do you know Curio well, John?
Yeah, he came from nowhere, didn't he? Yeah. Knocked out Nonshinger in a round.
Did he look there? Yeah.
And then he lost the rematch in a spectacular fight. So yeah, he's the business. He's an hard little bastard. And Sonny got involved with Bam Bam, didn't he? You know, he probably didn't have the power to keep him away. Bam Bam just closed him down, and this guy's going to try and do exactly the same. This guy probably won't be as clever as Bam Bam, will he? So Sonny might be able to get away with a little bit more and box a bit more. But it's not easy, and he's coming back from that fractured eye socket, isn't he, against another big puncher? So yeah, full credit, Sonny. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I didn't think about the fractured eye socket. Yeah. That's been out for a while, hasn't it? But hopefully that won't hinder him in his efforts in this fight.
I could have picked any non-puncher for him, couldn't they?
Yeah. You know what? I don't think Sonny's the sort of fella, the way he carries himself and that bit of swagger he's got that bit of X factor, Sonny. I don't think he's going to go into the ring thinking of that fractured eye. Well, he might be 8 stone and about 5 foot, but what Sonny Edwards is one fearless bastard.
Oh, he don't lack confidence anyway, that's for sure.
It's brilliant, isn't it? I love fighters like that. Always have brilliant.
Straight back into the place as well, in front of all the same fans, and
well, he said
up last time.
He said he thinks he's gained a few fans, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Right, John, we're on to round 3. I know great fight this weekend, Noakes against the Frenchman Mendy.
Yeah, we talk about Sam Noakes. We're becoming Sam Noakes station, aren't we?
Yeah.
We talk about him every week. We love him. Good fight on short notice this week though with Mendy. I know quite a lot of British fighters got offered the chance to fight Noakes and all turned it down. And I was thinking we were going to pluck an Argentinian or something out and get him defending one of them belts, international belts. But picking Mendy for the European title, I tell you what, it shows how much Frank believes in him, doesn't it? You know, to put him into this. He beat Luke Campbell. He's never been stopped.
That's right.
Beaten some real good people. Noakes said he was at the first fight. He actually spoke to him last week. He said the first fight he went to live, was watching Mendy fight Campbell in the rematch. So that shows the gap in experience. But Noakes isn't going to do anything different, is he? He's going to set a hot pace, let his punches go, and see if he can stop him. Great fight, I think.
You know what? If he stops him, John, it's an absolute enormous statement, and it keeps the pot boiling for that Chamberlain fight we talk about. I mean, Mendy might be in his 39th year, is it 56, 57? I'm not sure. 55 or 56 fights. But there's never been any signs of, the only thing against Mendy here is inactivity over the past couple of years. But it'll be some statement if he stops him. I've got a feeling Mendy will fiddly get through to the final bell.
Yeah.
You think? Oh, I'm a big fan of Noakes as well, and I do think he stops him. I do.
Really? Yeah.
He's been around, and he's not been stopped. But I just think he's getting him at the right time, and I think Noakes is the real deal. I really do.
Yeah. I tell you, I'll just ask you this before we move on, Joe. How excited would you be for Noakes and Chamberlain?
Massive fight, isn't it? I don't think it's going to happen yet, though.
No, it's got to happen this year.
You think it happened this year?
Oh, please. I hope so. I hope it's not in 18 months and one of them's been beaten, or 2 years down the line. Oh, we ask anyone we mention Noakes or Chamberlain, they get asked about this fight. And you'll just ruin my evening by saying that. And John's going to put his head there. He's put his head down there.
Yes. If you come on here, you can't say it's not going to happen. You've got to be you've
got
to be banging the drum for it to happen in the next 6 months.
I want it to happen. I just thought
we got a proper.
When's it?
Oh.
No, I think I at the minute I'd pick Noakes, but he'd have to walk through some bombs to do it.
Yeah, I think Noakes as well.
Oh, I don't know.
You can't sit on the fence.
All right. You know what?
Chamberlain looked so much better last time.
I think Chamberlain's the one in the he's in the ascendancy so much. I'm gonna go Chamberlain at this early stage.
Yeah.
But what a fight! What a fight! It's one of those you get your prediction wrong. There's no shame in it. But Joe, you're right. You're a really chatty guest, and you delivered that. It's not going to happen this year. John and myself are wounded now, mate. Wounded.
I don't think it happens this year. I just don't.
Oh,
I
wounded.
think it's another one of them fights that they're going to try and save, and it might end up, like you said, one of them end up getting beat before it happens. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Brilliant. I tell you what. We're on to round 4 now, and something you want to talk about, Joe. Boxers pay.
Yeah, I just think I don't really know the answer to it. The used to probably tell me more. It seems to me like the boys at the top are getting paid millions and thousands and hundreds of thousands, and like the young ones coming through, the boys coming through. Not even some of the young ones, just the lads coming through that have not broke through to that TV yet. There's just nothing there for them. There's no money there, and it's hard for some of them to stay in the sport unless they've got these great sponsors and things like that.
Yeah, you know what? And the thing with some of these guys, it is hard because there's so many small hall shows now. There's not enough fans to go around. So they're all on ticket deals. You've got overseas opponents who cost a fortune. And you know what? It's easy to look at, a lot of people say the small hall promoters should do more, but you've got things like you've got to maybe have 4 doctors at a show for a show. It's like 2,400 quid for those 4 doctors. You've got referees, you've got timekeepers on 250 quid a night. And the profits are just eaten into, and the boxers are having to sell tickets, cover the opponent. And if you're a dangerous fighter, you're getting a foreigner in, and by the time you play flights, it's $3,000. It's just impossible for them. Really, really hard. But as you say, unless you got a sponsor, but I'm not going to name fighters here. I find with some fighters, they have a sponsor, and they might be on £500 a week, and to some of them, it takes the hunger away from them. Because they can sit at home watching daytime TV, getting fat, doing a bit of training, and they're still getting their dough. So I know of some fighters who are terrible for that.
Yeah, some of them just milking the sponsors so they can get paid a wage, and they're not really bothered. They're happy to fight these journeymen every couple of months, get the name back out and crack on. But it's just it's a shame, really. I just think it is. It's a massive shame.
Yeah, if you just take the sponsors a pair of gloves from you to beat a Latvian over 4 rounds, stick them in a frame, and then the sponsor gives them 500 quid a week for the next year.
And the sponsor can go boxing somewhere in Manchester, go to Bowlers, go to Bolton, go to a venue in Liverpool, buy 10 ringside tickets, and they're having a night of their life for 500 a week because they got millions in the bank. But I think that's great for the fighters. But I think some fighters take that to the extreme and maybe, you know, what it's for. I mean, I remember God when Hamza Shiraz first turned pro, every bit of success he's got, he spent every penny he's got on sponsorship towards training. And even now, there's no expense spared when he goes to an American camp, what sparring partners cost. And he's got the results through using sponsorship properly.
Yeah, just a quick one, Steve. What sort of wages do you hear for lads wanting? You know, say for a 50-50 6-rounder or an 8-rounder, what sort of, you don't give any names, what sort of wages do we turn down and what do we sort of ask for now?
It varies, mate. It varies from fighter to fighter. I mean, you know, it's no secret. It's about on a 6-round show, an away fighter with who's a journeyman is 1,800 to $2,000 for an away. That's a journeyman fighter for 6 rounds. Then you might have X's on top of that if they've come a long way. You don't forget, it's a lot of money to travel. I'm just trying to do a fight now for a guy to travel about 7 hours to Liverpool in a couple of weeks. And, you know, he wants more than the norm, not because of the journey, you know, but well, because of the journey as well. What's it going to cost in petrol driving from Cornwall to Liverpool? It's like getting an overseas fighter in. When you can get, you know, a good TV 6-rounders, they're paying $3,500 for 6-rounders, some of them, I believe.
It's madness. I know some fighters are even the boxing for free because their opponents costing that.
Hey, a lot of the guys are boxing for free, and if they haven't got sponsors, they're boxing for free. I've got a boxer I look after, and he's going on a show in a few weeks, and he's an overseas boxer, that's here, and he's managed to get $3,000 from sponsors to pay for the opponent, any foreign ball tax, the opponent's hotel and flights, and then he's got to find money to put in the pot. He's not going to earn a penny. He just wants to get a win.
And having to do that 4 or 5 times a year, it's hard, it's stressful, as well as the training. I just think it's hard.
It's funny where you mentioned that. You use that word there, Joe, stress. And the number of boxers who say to me, it's too stressful selling tickets. They've gone on the road because they found it too stressful.
Yeah.
It's going around selling tickets. You know, Robbie Chapman, the journeyman, the super middle light heavyweight, I asked him if he won his first few fights, and he said it was just too stressful going out selling tickets all the time.
So half of them end up going on the road and half of them end up calling it a day, which is a shame.
Yeah.
Round 5, we're on to Haney versus Garcia this weekend. I'm amazed we've got to this fight a few days out, weeks ago, and I still think he should have been pulled out weeks ago, Ryan Garcia. And I'm more worried about his struggles away from the ring as much as what might happen to him on Saturday night. And I'm just hoping something don't happen, and it wouldn't surprise me if we almost saw a breakdown like Oliver McCall. And if something goes wrong with this kid on Saturday night, there's a lot of people who are just in it, who are making money out of it, who need to take a good hard look in themselves, and also the commission for sanctioning the contest.
Yeah, someone needs to be made accountable. Like you said, if something bad happens, touch wood, it doesn't. But someone needs to be made accountable because probably the fight shouldn't be going ahead. Let's have it right.
Yeah. He's in with a worst possible opponent as well, isn't he? You know, Haney could torture him for 12 rounds. You know, someone might take him out in 2 or 3 and it's done and dusted. But, God, Haney could make it an horrendous 12 rounds. And if Garcia's struggling with his mind before the fight, imagine how he'll be after 5 rounds if he can't land a shot and Haney's just humiliating him almost. You know, it could get pretty bad, couldn't it? I know that Barboza on the undercard's still on standby to step in. Even at this stage.
Really? Wow. You know what, though, John? I think you said it. It was you or one of my guests said the other week, John. Perhaps the best thing to happen in this fight is for Haney to come out and just do him in a round.
But the safest option, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's mad. What's it like? Have you ever boxed amateur or pro, Joe? Had someone who you know is wild or you know he's unpredictable or something? How do you prepare for something like that? Because Haney's got questions as well.
Yeah, I've not experienced it myself personally, but I know what you're saying. I suppose you just got to see what happens on the night. But I just think Haney's too big, too clever for him. I just think Garcia's. I've been watching some of the training videos today of Garcia, and I do think he's good. Don't get me wrong, but even now he's still making little daft mistakes that you get taught from day one type thing. You know, like dropping his hands when he's throwing certain shots, and it's a bit like he's getting paid out much for this. He's still not managed to sort that out.
Yeah,
it's what's it? They've boxed 6 times, haven't his amateurs though, and it's
is
3-3.
it 3-3 all? That's right. Yeah.
So maybe Garcia's just got something that works against Haney, but I think we've both gone up. Haney's gone like that, hasn't he, since we went pro, and Garcia's just seems to have gone completely off the rail since Tank stopped him.
I just think that's a product of how living a proper boxer's life. Though he's a proper boxing man, and he's not. Listen, he does the publicity and that, whatever. But I think his thing is to train and get better every day. But I just think Garcia's probably took his eye off the ball a little bit in recent years, and that's why you see Haney's up there and Garcia's still down here.
I think Garcia is almost a victim of his own social media success. You know, you got a lot of these people's, Instagrams, and it's just people kissing their asses, and it's like they believe the last person they would have seen at the bus stop, and I think he's a victim of that, Ryan Garcia.
Even if he gets beat, though, they're still gonna give him another big fight.
Oh, he's going to be recycled, isn't he? He's going to be recycled like a water bottle is. I mean,
the next fight he'll have, we'll stick him in with that Rolly Romero, who's the talk who just got beat.
It's almost like at the end of Tyson's career, they're just getting every little bit of flesh off him they could, these people.
Who's Ryan Garcia's Kevin McBride?
Oh, there'll be one, won't there? There's got to be one. Somewhere. There'll be one. Anyway, round 6, John, 5v5, Queensbury v Matchroom. What are the fights, mates? It's only just been released now, and I know you've been working on it.
Yeah, just when we started watching it, and they just unveiled them. It was like an edition of Blind Date. They all came out wearing masks, and one by one they peeled the masks off. It was but it's quite hard to describe Craig Richards and Deontay Wilder when they're wearing a mask. It weren't that particularly difficult to guess who they were. But you've got it's all the fights we already knew, really. Yeah. So you've got Wilder against Zhang. You've got Dubois against Hrgovic, Nick Ball against Ray Ford.
Great fight.
Hamza Shiraz and Amo Williams.
Very good.
But the one that it'll get the least attention. But I love the fight between Willie Hutchinson and Spider Richards. But you know me, that's right up my street. Yeah. Willie Hutchinson's a wild card, and Spider could be anything. But 5 good fights. Selfishly, I wish it was all Brit versus Brit. But like we've said before, it's going around the world, isn't it? So we'll probably want more international fights. But yeah, it'll be definitely a good night.
So have Matchroom got a couple boxers on loan, like a football club does with Wilder and Wilder?
They bought in Wilder as a super sub.
Yeah, super sub. Yeah, I like Hamza Shiraz and Amo Williams.
I think that's a great fight. That's a massive fight. I think that's probably the best fight on the card.
Yeah, I do. And Kane and Ford.
Yeah, Ball and Ford's cracking.
Ball and Ford, so I'm always getting,
Who wins Ball and Ford? You know, they both fought, it'll be 3 months. They both nearly turned it round late. Ball should have got the decision, and Ford got a knockout in the last round. So these couldn't be more evenly matched. But I just think Ford's size, I think it might help Ball a little bit more than Vargas did.
I fancy Ford to win it, John.
Yeah.
I think he'll know what he's going to get from Nick. And I don't mean that Nick's tremendous to watch. There can't be many British fighters you love watching as much. We love watching as much. But I just think Ford has that bit of momentum with him. And you know what? I said it on here. I thought the last fight was very close and not the robbery that people made out when Nick lost.
Yeah, definitely. I think he lost the first half of the fight, didn't he? Definitely.
Yeah. So he deserved to win. They thought he won it. But when people were short and worse, it's like everything. Every time there's a bad decision, everyone calls it the worst one ever. That wasn't a stinker at all.
Oh, he's a beast. He's a beast, Ball. He's not going to stop coming forward all night. But I just think, like you say, I think Ford's got a little bit more about him, to be honest with you.
Who wins Williams and Shiraz then, Joe?
Shiraz.
Yeah, I think so. Shiraz, yeah.
It's a good fight. Good fight. Either way.
I just think Shearaz might punch a bit harder.
Yeah. I know. Has he struggled in the past a bit with mental health as well? I'm all into.
Yeah,
he has. Yeah, didn't he? He had a little. Yeah, the poor fella had a blip about a year, 18 months ago, was it?
Yeah, pressure and attention. He said.
Sorry, Joe, missed you there.
Should he have boxed Brian Rose a few years ago as well?
Yeah, did he?
Yeah, he should have boxed him, but he pulled out, didn't he?
So that was things like that made me think.
Yeah, in a close fight, it can be something little like that.
Can be some little as we talk.
I tell you what, I hope Wilder can find something again, because the heavyweight scenes needs Deontay Wilder chinning people. I love him. I hate it when people, the stick he's been getting, I'm a big Wilder fan, and the stick he's been getting off people is really unfair, because I tell you what, I'm not saying he's the greatest heavyweight champion by any stretch of the imagination, but there's few more exciting and few been able to whack like him and take you out with one punch.
Yeah, he's the most destructive puncher that's ever lived. Let's have it right. I just wonder sometimes how much hunger he has got left. You know, he's getting these big paydays now, especially in South.
Yeah,
it takes it away from you. It can't not, can it? Let's be honest. You know what I mean? But hopefully he does find his form again, and it'll be a great fight. That one.
Oh yeah, that's a banger, that, isn't it? Zhang and Wilder. Neither of them want to go past 6 rounds, did they?
No, because
Zhang will be blowing out his ass after 4 or 5, and Wilder's got to let his hands go this time.
That's it. And it's just the image that, you know, you can see what it would do, how people look. If there was an image of Big Bang Zhang falling to the floor and not being able to get up from Wilder, Wilder will be reinvented, and everyone everyone be saying he's back and he's going to conquer them all again. Now, heavyweight division needs Deontay Wilder on form.
Yeah.
I think if it goes early, I think Zhang. If it goes late, Wilder.
Yeah, fair assumption. Fellas, that flew by tonight. Joe, you were a brilliant guest. John said you were. John tipped you to that was his nap of the month for you to be a great guest. And thank you very much. And hope you'll come back on again soon.
Definitely. Thank you for having me. Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
John, thanks as always, mate. It looks like you're starting work again already there, John.
Yeah, I've got loads to do. I'll be back in though tomorrow, Joe.
All right, I'll get you on the rope tomorrow.
Oh no, leave the rope. Oh, do you know what, Steve? I know we have our fan club here, don't we, on Bell to Bell? I think we're going to have a new one, a new member of it soon. Did you see Tom Welland fight on Friday night?
I haven't seen it yet. I saw his debut in Brighton, but I didn't see it.
Oh, he's going to be made for TV for about 5 or 6 years.
Really?
Right,
yeah.
Right fight, yeah. 4-0. They put him in with a guy who was 24 and 17, and the guy came to win. But yeah, Welland doesn't take a step back. We'll have to get Welland on. Good lad as well.
Oh, we'll do. I think he's with Lee Eaton. I'll speak to Lee, see if we can get him on next week, John.
Get him on. Yeah.
Fellas, thanks very much. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, John. Thanks, everyone, for watching or listening. Thank you.
For all boxing info, news and latest interviews, amateur and pro, across the north, click and subscribe. VIP Boxing Promotions. Also, Twitter, Instagram and Facebook.